Evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the second session of Stress to Smiles program. This is a very interesting session because we are going to, in this program, discuss something, a very interesting framework called the SCARF framework, which is an acronym for status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness, and how this in the domain of social behavior, how we get triggered, and how our behavior is triggered by these this scarf model, and that is what we're going to be discussing today. Hello, Pooja.
Hello,
And
hello, Ashish. Yeah, sorry.
hello, Pooja. Our last session of Stress to Smiles will be next Thursday, same time at 8 p.m. And after that, we'll be starting with Becoming a Trailblazing Leader program, which is one of the core programs of this session. And it will run till 4th of June. And this is a very comprehensive program where I'll request everyone to be on mute when they are not speaking. uh, it'll cover resilience, developing a champion's mindset, the power of imagination, how using imagination we can create the results we want in our life, about time management, which is a massive issue, about compassionate leadership, emotional intelligence, about sharpening the saw, and the capstone session. This is a very powerful program. So block your calendar. I'll also be asking Vaishnavi to block your calendars. So this is the program we'll be kick starting in the month of April. Now, the brief recap of what we covered in the last session. I'll be happy to hear from you if there is anything you would like to share, basis what we discussed from the last session. Somesh, Vasudev, Gaurav, anything you would like to share? Uh, the agenda slide is here for you to refer, or anything that comes out for you. Yes, Vasudev.
Yeah, one of the assignment or the activity that we did was identify three things that trigger you and make
Correct.
you anxious. So it was a very wonderful exercise that I did, and I could understand certain places where this is happening. I could actually go back, look at it, and recheck whether the same thing is happening again. And I realized that most of what I had copied, that where I know something that I want to do, and someone tells me that this is how it is to be done, that gives me, that triggers me. Then, like that, I identified certain questions uh, that are what you call triggering that kind of feel. And so what I have started done twice or thrice is that when this is happening and I am feeling that urge to respond in a serious tone, I was able to take a pause and take a three deep breaths, and this has worked for me for this time.
Very
So
nice.
that
Very
has been
nice.
a very wonderful part.
And how was it different? Like, what was the difference you found doing this, Vasudev?
Yeah, a bit. My like physically, I could feel that my head is bit heated up during this
Mm.
challenge. Like the something that I am exhaling is like hot air at that time,
Mm.
and that was like something like eye-opening, I can say. Like
Very nice.
this much of heat is getting generated inside my body, and
Mm.
it had to be released, and it was getting released like through this, what you call, through this anger or shouting at the person, whatever way I can say that. But this actually gave that feeling that हम अंदर से कितना गर्म होते हैं stress.
Correct. Correct.
So
Very well said, Vasudev. And one of the things that we have shared as a resource in our group today is a body scan meditation. That's a very powerful meditation, about 20 minutes in duration, and this is to everybody I'm speaking. Please practice this as often as you can, because that helps us in tuning into our body and being able to regulate our emotions and manage them much better. I can't tell you how powerful it is because it will take me another maybe half an hour or 1 hour, but it's a very powerful meditation. You can do it sitting or lying down, awake or sleeping, whichever way. You can just play it and go off to sleep it if it works for you that way. But a very powerful. Don't let me not speak about it. You try it and then share your experience in the group. Vasudev, whom would you like to invite to share next?
Yeah, Gaurav.
I will need a minute.
Okay, okay.
I'm
Maybe
just reached
Somesh
home.
can then go
I will need a
ahead.
minute.
Yeah,
The session which we started last week, Stress to Smiles, was a very informative, insightful, and the most critical thing is it was very relevant. Everyone could relate to that kind of situation. Everyone is going through some kind of stress, either mental stress or physical stress. So I found that in today's world, that session was very relevant, and the way it was structured, it was very good because everyone talks about stress, but nobody knows what it actually means, how it affects your health, mental health or physical health, and what is its impact on the behavior of you when you are under stress.
yeah, yeah.
What are the triggers which leads to person to a stressful situation? So I think that the session was really good, and we could relate. I'm sure everyone could relate to that kind of situation because everyone must have gone through some time at some point of life through stressful situations.
Sure.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure today's session will help us more get
Yeah,
into the depth of this stress thing, stress management, all this stuff. So
thank you.
yes, Ashiji, thank you for conducting such a nice training session.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Thank you.
Yes.
Monica, can you briefly share your takeaways from the last week session? Briefly.
Yeah, sorry, sir, I am traveling today,
Okay, okay.
but I'm going to be able to.
All right.
That.
No, no worries, no worries. So I'll quickly share what we discussed last time. We discussed about stress. What is stress? Stress is our body's reaction to any threat, whether that threat is real or perceived, and how we respond to that stress. There is some amount of stress which is good for us, but a chronic continuing stress leads to burnout and poor performance. So that is, we discussed about eustress, which is good stress, chronic stress, acute stress, how the stress impacts our body, and we will share the recording with you, Pooja, so you can review that entire last session. Today's session is not very connected with the last session, so you will still be able to benefit from today's session, and you can review the contents of the last session. How do we identify the stress, what are the causes of stress, and identifying our personal triggers, which is very important because when we get triggered we often behave in manner which is suboptimal, and may not be in our interest and interest of all the people around us. So identifying our personal stress triggers, having that awareness so that we are able to respond rather than react. So that is what we covered in the module 2. And in the second module today, we are going to look at the SCARF model, which is a very strong determinant of our social behavior. So we will understand SCARF model in how it drives our behavior, and also understand how we can, how we some of the things we are doing may be driving other people's behavior. We discussed this last time also. There is the adverse impact of stress not only on our health, but also it shrinks the hippocampus, which is we spent a lot of time discussing last time, that it impacts our ability to think. We have Pooja who has joined us today. So Pooja, I'll request you to briefly share with us about yourself and your expectations from the systematic learning program. And if you can come
Uh,
on the camera, that will be nice too.
Yes. So, hi everybody. My name is Pooja. I am a communication coach, and I met Ashish in a conference. And first thing that I have to mention that just looking at him, we feel that peace. I have mentioned this twice to him, and what I've always felt that externally, yes, I have been able to achieve that impact that which I wanted, but internally, I have been into the loops always, and I want to close those loops. Uh, a lot of times I fail to give my 100% in situations because I am dragged off by other things. So that's what I am looking forward to achieve with this journey, in this journey with Ashish, actually. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, Pooja. Thank you for sharing that. And you will get to know other participants over a period of time. Feel free
Definitely,
to
yes.
interact with them. That they are there in the group, so feel free to reach out and interact with them.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for sharing. One thing which I would like to share, some of the participants are already aware about this, is the 70-20-10 rule. 10% of the learning happens by way of the coursework, 20% learning happens when we discuss, and 70% happens when we actually apply. So feel free to share and engage and debate. This is a very safe place, non-judgmental place, and these recordings don't go out anywhere. They remain in the closed group only. So feel free to share. So that's how we approach our session now. And now coming to the scarf model. A scarf is how our brain gets triggered, by the what's happening in our environment. So that is what we are going to be understanding today, and it's very easy for our brain to get hijacked with what is happening. So that's what we are going to explain. But before that, we will do a short practice of mindfulness, and then we will get started with our session, about 5 to 7 minutes. So please sit straight with your back and neck in a straight line, straight but not stiff, chin parallel to the ground, a gentle smile on your face, and take couple of deep breaths, filling in your lungs completely and then exhaling. Breathe in fully, exhale completely, and bring your attention to the area at the entrance of your nostrils. And observe every breath that is coming in and moving out. This is not an exercise in regulating our breath. We are just observing the breath as it comes in and as it moves out. It is possible that you find your mind wandering away from time to time. Wandering of the mind is not a mistake, it is its nature. Every time you find that your mind has wandered away, gently, with compassion, bring it back to focus on your breath once again. Continue to breathe. Using our breath is a great tool to anchor our attention in the present moment. The past is gone, the future is yet to come. Present is the only moment that we have got. That is why present is also called a gift. All the regrets, grievances, guilt is a matter of past. All anxiety about the future is yet to come. Present is all we have got. And in this moment, there are infinite possibilities. Continue to breathe. We normally breathe about 25,000 times in a day, but we hardly breathe consciously. This is our opportunity to breathe consciously and to be grateful for every incoming and outgoing breath. Continue to breathe. And couple of seconds from now, we'll be coming to the end of this practice. Consider setting an intention that this practice of being mindful will help you and everyone you come in contact with. Thank you for practicing mindfulness with me. You may choose to keep your eyes closed for a couple of seconds more and gently open them whenever you are ready. And we'll be happy to hear from you. How was this brief practice of mindfulness for you? Yes, Pooja, you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, my mind is, as you had mentioned in one of the sessions, it's like that monkey and the drunken one. So So to be very honest, yes, I was getting involved, but I had to bring myself back a lot of
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
That happened.
yeah,
But I could, for sometimes that's what I find to be, win
yeah.
for me.
That's wonderful, Pooja. That, and it's like doing a rep in the gym. When we're building
Mhm.
muscles and we're lifting weights, the more number of reps we do, the stronger our muscles become. So same way, the more number of times we bring back and stay focused, stronger our muscle of attention becomes. And it takes practice like any other skill. So keep up with it. Thank you for sharing that. Gaurav, you would like to share something? All right. So we'll,
Mm,
yeah, yes, Gaurav.
no, this Anapan meditation is always something that grounds me.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
I observed it. And it's basically very fast and quick to do. So you don't
Yeah,
have to be elaborate,
yeah,
do anything. So
sure,
that.
sure, Gaurav. Thank you for sharing. So I was mentioning about the book from where this on which our session today is based. It is Your Brain at Work by Dr. David Rock, in which he mentions this scarf model. And the first time I got to know about the scarf model from this was in this book called Search Inside Yourself by Meng. So if you would like to research this deeper, this is your resource. And with that acknowledgement to our teachers, we will get started with our session today. And one thing I would like you to keep in mind is that the way our brain is wired, it responds much more to a threat than to a reward. Okay. So, just to give you an example, if my boss says that you do this work and I'll give you an incentive, there will be some motivation. But if he says if you don't do this, you will lose your job, then I'll put whatever it takes to do what is required to be done. So, we respond far more to threat or loss, which you want to avoid at any cost. So, keep this in mind as we go through our session today. And the first S, which is about status, how status determines every behavior and action of ours. Come to think of it, everything that we do is driven by our desire to improve our status, whether it is education, whether it is the car we drive, or the house we live in, or the spouse that we have, or the children or children's education. Everything is driven by that threat, by that status, desire to improve status. And anything that improves status is a reward, and it helps us feel happy. And anything that threatens the status is considered as an existential threat. Uh, so, as I have mentioned earlier, we lived in the jungles for millions of years. And existential threat is if a lion comes or a bear, wild bear comes or snake comes, I'll lose my life. Today, we don't have a fear of loss of life, but the decrease in status is considered as a existential threat, and it gets triggered very easily. And we will see some examples how we get triggered. And as we are looking at the examples, think of something that may be happening in your life, and feel free to share with me as we are sharing these. And also reflect on where we could be doing some of these behaviors which may be impacting other people, right? uh, so people go to great lengths to protect their status. Now, come to think of it as a from a sales perspective, right? If I'm a salesman and if I go to make a sales call and the customer says no to me, what is that? That's an increase in status or decrease in status. Hearing a no from a customer, you can type in the chat whether it is an increase in the status or decrease in status.
It feels like decrease. Yeah.
It's a decrease in status. Client saying no is a decrease in status. So मैं call ही नहीं करूँगा. That is how our behavior is. We don't like to be rejected. So rejection is a decrease in status. So we don't do what is. Whereas उसका काम ही वही है कि भाई तुम sales calls करो, company की growth करो. And also in our social status, our brain is constantly scanning the group. Suppose if I am in a group of 10 people, it will automatically, without my realizing, it will rank that this person is number 1, I am maybe number 4, and there's somebody else who is number 10. ये ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाता है. ये कभी भी ग्रुप में होते हैं तो हम स्कैन कर रहे होते हैं कि यहाँ पे कौन लीडर है और कौन फॉलोअर है. And status threats get triggered very, very easily. And I'll discuss what is a good way to increase status. And okay, so let's look at some examples. This is something which I've already spoken about. Title is another way to increase status. So earlier in British times you would have Sir as a title or Rai Bahadur as a title. Today you would have Padam Shri, Padam Vibhushan, etc. So these are examples of how title increase our status. Now, in one of the companies that I used to work, we moved our office, and in the earlier organization where our office was, everybody had a cabin. But in the new office, the CEO decided to do away with the cabin structure, including himself. Everybody used to sit in the open, in cubicles. Now, one chief operating officer was not able to come to terms with the fact that he has not got a cabin now, because his style of operating was call people to his cabin and then tell them what is to be done, what is not to be done, shout at them or whatever to be done. And he just could not adapt to this style. And then what he would do is occupy one meeting room and continue there. So the cabin is got a very strong linkage with the status, and when you lose this, it impacts your behavior. Another one of my friends, he used to draw a salary of 1.8 CR per annum, but the cabin which company gave him was smaller than a cabin which another employee in the company was drawing less salary than him was got. So less salary, bigger cabin. He had more salary but smaller cabin. And that used to irritate him like hell. How come this junior person has got a bigger cabin like that? And when you get irritated like that, then it reflects in your behavior. And in 2 years' time, he was the situation became like that. Unceremoniously, he was asked to leave that organization. So we need to understand how this the status drives our behavior and causes, leads us to behave in a suboptimal manner. Another, and feel free to come in anytime you have something. Like some people, I have seen in their office, they will sit on huge chair, and for the visitors they will have very small chair. So they are trying to show that you are small, I am big. Or the other way you can do, you can have a small chair and you give big chair to the customer who is coming in, so that he feels elevated. Then another case, what happened was one very senior person was hired in a company, and his desk was next to where the dustbin was kept. He felt so offended that he immediately left the same day and he never came back. So this is important for us to understand where we are getting triggered, what is triggering us. Or look at children. If you have guests at home, children are not behaving. Okay. Now children are not behaving. Issue is not कि children behave नहीं कर रहे हैं. Issue ये है कि मेरी reputation खराब हो गई जो लोग आए उनके सामने. Okay. So my status is threatened in front of my guests because my children are not behaving. Then you will slap them and you will do this and you will do that. So how our status get threatened, and we get stressed with that. Or earning. It is not important what is the increment I have got. If I have got 15%, or let us say I have got 10%, so I'm very happy that I have got 10%. Till that time, I realize that the other person has got 15%. So then suddenly that 10% does not look good, and then I'll be highly frustrated. Sometimes organizations will give you not an increment, but they will give you an international project. So we call this a lollipop. फायदा तो कुछ नहीं हुआ, बट टाइटल बढ़ा दिया. आप वीपी थे, आपको एसवीपी का टाइटल दे दिया, तो आप खुश हो गए. मॉनेटरी कुछ बेनिफिट नहीं है, बट टाइटल बड़ा मिल गया, या आपको एक फॉरेन ट्रिप दे दिया. सो लाइक दैट दे मैनेज. और an employee gets scolded in front of the employee, his colleagues, his status is immediately threatened, and then he feels very bad. So I'll pause here to hear from you, how is this resonating with you, and if you are able to relate to this. Has anything, like, have you been triggered by any status threat? It could be marks or anything else, or any behavior that you have noticed or undergone on, or maybe perpetrated on someone, shouted at someone, which you could have done that. So how do you feel when your status is threatened, is what I would like to hear from you. Anyone would like to share? Have you got triggered by any perceived threat due to your change in status?
I don't know if this resonates exactly, and this is very personal actually to share. But sometimes what happens, if my kids, if they are more um into their grandmother, okay, so for example, nani, no daddy, you make my tiffin, or I want to sleep with you. I know, and I also love her so much,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
the thing. Or I know that this is not some status game, but still, as a mother, I think sometimes I feel that my status has got a threat as a mother. I don't know if this resonates, but yeah, this is what I sometimes feel.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
This,
now we realize how this plays out in our lives. Yes, Gaurav, you want to share something?
yeah, this just yesterday this happened with me. Uh, I was a treasurer in a certain group, and now I'm stepping down because I'm taking a responsibility somewhere else. So, mm, and yesterday, in one of the meetings that I was, uh, they were handing over the new ID cards. So the ID cards had for a regular member, there is a different ID card, and somebody who is a office bearer or a lead team, there's a different. There's only a slight change of color, एक लाइन का फर्क है. बट मैं बोला अभी यार ये अभी लीडरशिप टीम में रह के ये कलर का अभी तक पहन रहे थे अपन 1 साल से, और
Yeah.
अभी ये पहनना पड़ेगा.
Ah,
इट्स नॉट अ बिग थिंग देखा जाए तो, बट फिर भी वो लगा, मतलब हर्ट हुआ कि अरे ये ऐसा होगा अपने साथ अभी.
correct, correct. Now we can also, realize the importance of some of these things in our life.
ये रहा. This is the
Yeah, yeah,
old
yeah.
visiting card. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So understanding this and then using this, in one thing is how it impacts us, and how our behavior may be impacting others. Both ways we need to be conscious about this in our interactions. Somesh, Vasudev, Monica, anything you would like to share quickly?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah, Vasudev ji, please go.
Okay. So this may be in 2012 when I was promoted to the department in charge. My boss retired and he emptied his room. So I was moving from my open cubicle to a cabin, just like the example you shared. And during this period, I was like slowly shifting material from here to there, and it was nothing new. I used to normally be in that cabin most of the time, but as the second person, and today I was going to take that seat. So I moved most of the material. Still, one of the shelf was empty, not emptied from where I was sitting, and someone else was going to sit there. So that person who reported to me, he came to me one day and said, after 2 days maybe, sir, आपका खाली कर दीजिए, आपका जो था अपने अंदर ले लीजिए. I did that, but for about 1 or 2 hours, I was feeling that he has occupied my territory or something of that thought. Although I got promoted, I got a big cabin for me. I could see people sitting in front of me, 3 seats in that. Everything was there. I was promoted actually, but
Yeah.
because he came and told me to empty it, I felt a bit, what you say, like my territory was occupied, and he is telling me to do
Yeah.
all kind of things. But for after 2 hours, I realized this is nothing. But he is also right that he also wants to keep his. He is also feeling promoted,
Correct. Correct.
and he wants to keep his things there. So after about 5 minutes of logical thinking, I came back to normal sense. But even today, whenever I see these things happening, I feel that point of time, this is there. Like nowadays, one more thing that is happening is WhatsApp groups. When someone resigns from the group, normally they leave by themselves. And sometimes some of the seniors want us to, as the admin in the group, they tell us, "अरे वासु उनको निकाल दो group से." I feel a bit bad when I want to remove someone. Most of the time, when I was given that responsibility, I put a message that request to leave the group, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that is also not very nice. Although I am not going through it, but I feel as if, uh, like you said, that feeling belittled at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Vasudev. Monica?
Yes, I can resonate with all the examples. I have seen the most prominently on the professional life for the cabin size. That is
Hmm.
very much common. That if someone is sitting inside cabin and they are shifted to outside, and as Vasudev ji said, and the WhatsApp is in these days is such a big thing to be part of one group, or either you are leaving. And I have seen, especially in my society, in last 4 5 years, that people make it ego issue to be the admin of the group.
Hmm. Hmm.
Such a big uh, fight in the society between 250 flats and the owners, that who will be the admin.
Yeah.
This is such a big thing. As we are making Prime Minister of India to someone, yes, I can't even have the words to explain the issue,
Yeah.
but the triggering the people's mind. Even some people have removed me as the group's admin from the common society groups. So
Yeah.
this is a big thing for them, that I want to be the admin. You have to leave the group or something, and they make the new groups.
Yeah.
And the other thing of the personal space, as the Pooja shared, that I also resonate with that. That as a mother, sometimes we feel bad. Sometimes kids are preferring to grandmothers, either dadi or nani, especially on the food. Even this thing happened with me last week. I was at my mother's place. My son was telling me that Nani had made this thing more uh, tastier than you. So it always trigger. It always trigger. I don't know. Even they also love my mother a lot, and I want my kids to be respect her and to love. But it as a mother, it always trigger.
Yeah.
कि उनकी क्यों तारीफ कर दी तुमने, खाना तो मेरा खा रहे हो इतने सालों से.
True, true.
Thank
Uh,
you.
ये व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप का ना, सॉरी,
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप का, वी I have a dog and we go during COVID. We used to take all the dogs in a park nearby and let them play for an hour or so.
Hmm. Hmm.
तो वहां पे एक लेडी ने, सीनियर थी बंदी, अराउंड 60, उसने एक ग्रुप बनाया, सबके नंबर लेके एक ग्रुप बना दिया था. एंड देन सम डॉग्स पेरेंट, मतलब डॉग पेरेंट का किसी बच्ची ने वापस अलग अलग से ग्रुप बना लिया, 7 8 साल की,
हाँ.
व्हाट्सएप पे. एंड वो जो सीनियर लेडी थी उसने इतना फायरिंग किया उसको, तूने ग्रुप ही कैसे बनाया, मेरे को पूछ के कैसे बनाया, मैंने सबको इकट्ठा करके ग्रुप बनाया है. तेरे पेरेंट्स को कैसे मैं अभी झगड़ा करूंगी जाके, बोला यार यू आर ब्लडी 60 ईयर।
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you see how this plays out. Thank you for bringing that up, Gaurav, Monica, Vasudev, everyone, Pooja. And would you be interested in knowing why status is so important for us? Why we behave like this? Please type why in the chat if you're interested in knowing why status is the determinant of our behavior. Yeah,
I think
thank
one
you.
of the most important ego issue.
Yeah, that too. But again, looking back at our evolution, the person, earlier the resources were very scarce, not like today when everything is available in plenty. And the person who had status also had the power to allocate the resources. Think about when we were living in jungles and the food was limited. We were hunter gatherer. We were not growing food, and or if you had to fight or whatever resources you needed. So the person who had status controlled all the resources and he would distribute. And getting a resource or not getting a resource was the difference between your living and dying. So that is how we have associated status. Today, that as I mentioned earlier, it's not an existential threat, but we behave, we are wired the same way, and we get triggered. Like the old lady, or some of the examples that we heard, we get triggered because we think our status has been impacted, and status threat is an existential threat. Okay. So that's about status. Moving on, let's look at the next component. One thing that Dr. David Scarf says is the only way to look at status in a positive way is to compare yourself, whether I am improving my status compared to myself, my earlier self, versus compared to somebody else. So whether I didn't have a cabin earlier, I now have a cabin. I didn't have a car earlier, I now have a car, or I have a bigger car or I didn't know. And the best thing he says is compare your status in terms of the knowledge and skills that you have. Are you getting better and better at what you're doing, what you know, etc.? That is the best way to compare our status versus somebody else. So that is Dr. David Rock's recommendation about status and how we should be cognizant of that. Now coming to the next part, which is also very powerful, is about the certainty or uncertainty. And our brains are wired to love certainty. Every time there is uncertainty, our brain generates an error response. It just can't handle uncertainty. And we will understand this by way of some examples. And uncertainty takes away a lot of brain resources. Now think about it, where brain is only 2% of our body weight, but it consumes 25% of the calories. So in times when we were hunter gatherers, we didn't get food. We didn't get 2 meals or 3 meals or 4 meals like we get today. Those days खाना मिला तो ठीक है, नहीं मिला तो भूखे रहना पड़ेगा. So and there are periods when the human beings may have had to go through days of hunger, and brain occupied consuming 25% of the calories. It did everything it can to preserve कि सोचना ना पड़े, कम सोचना पड़े, तो आराम से हमारा काम चल जाएगा. अनसर्टिनिटी होगी तो ज़्यादा सोचना पड़ेगा, which means more energy is required and energy is scarce. So that is why our brain loves certainty and it can't handle uncertainty. And this uncertainty can be highly debilitating. आदमी की सोचने समझने की शक्ति ही खत्म हो जाती है when there is uncertainty. We are not just used to doing it. Look at it from the perspective of a war. If somebody says that this war is going to get over on 31st December 2026, then there is no certainty. I know अभी तेल नहीं है, गैस नहीं है, but I know कि यार अगले 9 महीने की बात है, उसके बाद सब ठीक हो जाएगा. बट अब यहाँ तो पता ही नहीं कि कौन किसके ऊपर बम फेंक रहा है, क्या होगा, ये इधर क्या होगा, उधर क्या होगा, यार रशिया यूक्रेन चल रहा है, चाइना ताइवान चल रहा है, इनका इसराइल का दो चार लोगों के साथ चल रहा है, उधर क्यूबा वेनेजुएला, वी डोंट नो, सो वी डोंट नो व्हाट्स गोना हैपन. एंड दैट, look at AI, the impact of AI on the job loss. Everybody who's in the, not everybody, but mostly people are very threatened by AI. अरे मेरी नौकरी चली जाएगी, AI का क्या होगा? लोगों को नौकरियां नहीं मिल रही हैं आजकल, so uncertainty of what will happen. If we know that AI we can deal with it, it's good, but uncertainty to deal is very different. And that is how it is. But now I'll also like to share with you that the uncertainty can also be very profitable. Can you think of some ways in which uncertainty can be profitable?
Simple places is like when I want to listen to a song, and it's better to switch on the radio and sing, listen to random song than to search my different thing, think about that particular song and
Okay,
switch
very
it on.
nice. Anyone else
And
on
I get
how
to know new things.
uncertainty can be profitable?
Sir, all entrepreneurs are thriving on uncertainty,
Very
letting
nice.
go of certain I mean, the definite income sources and going for the indefinite
Very nice.
uncertain income.
Very nice. Thank you, Gaurav, for sharing that. Yes, Pooja.
Um, I'm not sure, but I think if things are not certain, then we tend to explore different things and possibilities.
Okay.
And if things are certain, maybe we'll think in a
Yeah.
very
Straight.
yes, straight way. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah, we explore, we are curious, we are exploring, adventurer, or we finding solutions. So, all of you are right. I'll just like to share one example of an industry which has made humongous profits out of uncertainty. Do you know which industry is that?
Insurance, insurance.
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 Okay, so while everybody is doesn't want certain, everybody wants certainty, insurance company says boss, uncertainty is good, and they are like making billions and trillions of dollars of profit. So uncertainty is bad for some, it is good for some, and there are business models around that. Like Gaurav said, entrepreneurs embrace uncertainty and they're profitable. Another way to look at is the volatility of stock market returns. Okay, now just in India over last 40, 50, almost 40, 45 years, stock markets, the benchmark index has generated a return of 15%. FD gives a return of 8%. Now the risk is that 15% is not straight line. In some years it will be more, in some years it will be less. 1 year it will be 50%, 1 year it will be minus 20%. So because of that uncertainty, we don't go for stock market investments, which can create a humongous difference in our life and lifetime savings over a period of time. But we go for certainty, which is FD returns, which are so low that they don't even pay for cover our taxes or any real interest. So this is somehow some ways uncertainty plays out. I'll share some more examples with you. Now think of the expectations that we have at the workplace. Yes, uh, if a new joinee comes in, okay, and he is not being told what is to be done, what is expected from him, how would he feel? Okay, or look at a spouse, husband or wife. Wife says, यार इसके लिए मैं कुछ भी करती हूँ, ये खुशी नहीं होता, इसके लिए ये बनाओ तो भी खुश नहीं, वो बनाओ. हस्बैंड बोल रहे हैं, यार ये वाइफ के लिए कुछ भी मैं खरीद के लाता हूँ, खुशी नहीं होती है, कुछ भी डिनर लेके जाता हूँ. So no clear expectations, unclear expectations, uncertain, or temper, somebody with a temper issue, यार कब वो उसका बम फट जाएगा पता नहीं. So we are not clear. So that is one way. Do you know any people or at workplace in person where this kind of uncertainty about behavior is there? Okay, that is one of the another ways uncertainty plays out in our lives. Now, one organization where I used to do a short-term assignment, it was a consultancy assignment, but like salary. For some technical reasons, they were paying me salary, not a retainership fees. And that salary would not come on the due date, you know. In fact, there was no due date. Now, in every other company that I work, there is a due date, whether it is 27th, 1st, 30th, last working day, or 7th, whatever. In this company, there was no. Now, every day you're looking in your बैंक, अरे पैसा नहीं आया, SMS नहीं आया, इधर लॉग इन करके देख रहे हो, उधर दूसरों से पूछ रहे हो. You know, so how uncertainty, then you're not focused on the work, you're focused on your बस पैसा आया कि नहीं आया या कब आएगा. You know, that was another way how uncertainty. Or whether it's about the fidelity, you know, are you confident of the husband? Like there was one case I was somebody told me recently where wife was suspecting the husband of having an affair. Okay, and she went to chat gpt and said, you know, this is how my husband is behaving, what should I do? I suspect he is having an affair. So chat gpt gave some answers, and then basis that it was established that all this conversation is happening between wife and chat gpt. Then it went to a point over a couple of weeks or months that she wanted to divorce him now. Then she asked him, should I divorce in India or should I? They were living in US. So they chat gpt said, no, it's better you divorce in US. So then she divorced. Husband, when all this had happened, after that, when he looked at chat gpt his chats, he realized what had happened. Chat gpt basically ruined his relationship. So uncertainty, because the wife was not sure of the husband's behavior, this kind of mess happened. Or the entrance exam outcomes, some people are, this is the time when people are appearing for competitive exams. Competitive exams, even if you have done well, but if other people have also done well, you don't know, it's always a ranking. So uncertainty around that. Stock market returns we have spoken about. Now this is one amazing story I would like to share with you about a guy called Mario Prosperi. Mario Prosperi was running marathons in Sahara Desert. Okay, and he got lost. Imagine you getting lost in Sahara Desert. And they realized at the end of the day that he has not come to the point where he was supposed to reach, and they sent out people to look for him. And they kept looking 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. He was not to be found. 5 days is considered to be the limit, that in a desert, in Sahara Desert, you can't survive beyond 5 days without food, without water, that kind of summer. Can you imagine being lost in Sahara Desert when there is no direction, there is no landmark, there is no food, nothing? Eventually, Mario survived, and he was found on the 9th day. There's a long story, I'm not getting into that. There is a series called Losers on Netflix. If you're interested in that, you can watch this story there. Now imagine when you are in this situation where you're not certain whether you are going to live or not live, that kind of uncertainty. What will keep you going? जब आपको पता नहीं आज मैं जीऊँगा, आज मेरा ये आखिरी दिन होगा या मैं ये सर्वाइव करूँगा, what would be your mindset? इससे ज़्यादा अनसर्टिनिटी मुझे नहीं पता क्या हो सकती है. We get so triggered with uncertainty, right? क्या होगा? But यहाँ पे तो जिंदगी की बात है, मैं जीऊँगी कि नहीं. How would you deal with a situation like that when there is so much of uncertainty in your life, when you don't know whether you will live or not? What would be your frame of mind? How would you be thinking? What would you be doing? What would be a normal response or normal mindset for a person who's in that situation? Yes, Somesh, you want to share something?
Yeah, Ashish, one thing I would say is that that person who is in such a grave situation would be relying on hope, on miracles,
Hmm.
that someone will find me, or I will be able to spot someone who can help me, or just sheer hope
Yeah,
is one of the things which may keep the person going on.
yeah, sure. No, that is very fine. I completely agree with that, Somesh. But think about this, that this person is in Sahara Desert, extreme heat, hunger, thirst. What would be his frame of mind for 5 days, more than 5 days, and you don't know. ये तो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, 9th डे को वो मिल गया और बच गया, बट उस पता नहीं था ना कि मिलेगा कि नहीं, बचेगा कि नहीं. What would be
One
the...
moment at a time.
हाँ,
One moment at a time approach.
या बट आप सोचो, 9 दिन खाना नहीं मिल रहा आपको, पता नहीं, मतलब वो तो टुडे आई एम टेलिंग हिज स्टोरी, बट इफ आई वुड नॉट हैव टोल्ड यू द एंड, what would have been his frame of mind?
Very depressive.
Ah,
Um, uh, nothing to look forward to,
correct.
nothing, hopeful. Yeah, but it must have been extremely depressive.
Very, very difficult, right? And in that situation, only staying calm helped him. In a extreme situation like that, when we are faced with extreme uncertainty, staying calm is what can help us and is what helped him. Couple of other things you can watch this fantastic series, about 8 or 9 stories are there from of people from all over the world. So how can we stay?
Ashish ji, we can add one more example here.
Yes, please.
In the uncertainty part, job interviews. Whenever you go for a job interview, and till the time you don't get any response or call from the HR, you are always uncertain and you are bit depressed. क्या होगा मेरा जॉब मिली
Correct.
नहीं मिली कब से ज्वाइन करना है मेरे को स्पेशली व्हेन somebody is a jobless person and he gets an opportunity for an interview for his job and he is not getting any response, any clear response from the HR,
Yeah,
then he must be in a very stressed situation.
yeah,
What
yeah,
is going to happen next? Whether I'm
yeah.
going to be selected or whether I have been rejected. So there is a lot of uncertainty in that situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in that uncertainty, we panic. But the point is, and this comes out from Mario's story, that staying calm when there is so much uncertainty can make the difference between life and death. Okay, if you panic, you will of course die. Okay, तो ये समझना और उस समय प्रैक्टिस करना, is very important. Yes, Vasudev.
Yeah, I have a very good life example for myself on this. Uh, we had one machine which, when I joined that particular factory, they had stopped using that. So I saw the machine physically, but never saw that getting operated. Then about 2 years later, company decided this machine we will give it to outside source vendor, and that person will operate the machine. And they shifted the machine, fixed it, everything was done. And I was not aware how to run the machine by myself. So the person who had retired from my position earlier, whose position I took over, he said that tomorrow we will go there, we will operate the machine at 10 o'clock. So this was the deal that was done, and I started from my factory. He was supposed to join at some place in between. So I started. Once I started, I gave him a call. Dada, aa jao. Then he said, "नहीं भैया मैं आ नहीं पा रहा हूँ. Something happened. Something, whatever was the issue." So he said, "I am not coming." Now I had a lot of things going on in my mind. One person whom I had thought to pick up from my office, he he, I did not pick him up because some other person is coming. And this is about 60 kilometers into proper Kolkata city. And I had to go, and you can understand, if I want to travel for 60 kilometers into the city, coming back is not an option. It takes a lot of time. So I thought for 10 minutes, while I did not express it to the driver or anything. I just thought about it. I said, I remembered the story Dawn. In the movie Dawn, the person, Amitabh Bachchan, keeps the, he knows that bullets are over, and he ties the lady's, uh, what you call, उसका मुंह पे बांध देता है, कपड़ा बांध देता है, और उसको गन लगा के he takes it. So I said that इसके अंदर बंदूक नहीं है, मतलब ये चलाने नहीं आता है, ये तो जानकारी सिर्फ मुझे है. वहां जो लोग हैं वो तो जानते नहीं कि मैं नहीं चला पाऊंगा ये मशीन, मैंने चलते हुए कभी देखा. And basically the principles are same. So let me go there. Let me see whatever happens, because I don't want to waste the day today, because the next day I want to leave for some other assignment, or I was going on leave. So something was important, so I had to go there on that day. So I reached there. I told the operator, "Chalo, paper pass karo." And we tried. He tried 3-4 times. He changed certain loops, and so that paper ran well. So I came back home. Now there was uncertainty in my mind, but I just like this person you are saying, that calmness was the result that I did, and that helped me. Because he is not aware, I don't know how to run, and that helped me. That uncertainty from the other person also helped.
Very nice. So that's very well said, Vasudev. And sometimes believing that things will go right, we tend to assume that things will go wrong, but believing that they will go right also plays a very important part. Now I'll pause here just to do a sense check with you. How is this session going for you so far? Are you getting some new insights? Is this making sense for you? A quick check-in from everybody. Is this MS? Please type MS in the chat if this is making sense for you, and if you're getting any new insights. Pooja, Gaurav, yeah, okay, Pooja, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Monica, Vasudev, okay, good. So we'll carry on, and now we will look at the next one, which is autonomy. Okay. Now, autonomy is also a very important factor. Think about the freedom that we have at our workplace or in our families. Okay, wherever people have freedom to operate, they are less stressed. And if if the boss is like my way or highway, then people are highly stressed. And whatever I'm saying in work context can apply at home also. Parents, if they don't give any freedom to the children, बस बेटा इसी तरह से करना है तुमको, और कुछ नहीं करना है, इसी समय उठो, इसी समय सो, यही पढ़ना है. Choice of career also, So some people will push their children into becoming doctors just because both the parents are doctors. Okay, so child को बनना है guitarist, उसको rock band बनाना है, but कोई choice नहीं है उसको. So how mighty frustrated he would feel. So autonomy is another factor. Having autonomy reduces stress. Not having autonomy increases stress. So reflect on this in your life. How has this factor played out? Like one of the how this plays out. And autonomy also is function of seniority. So people who are more senior will have more autonomy. People who are junior will have less autonomy. So that is why and it's kind of egg and chicken kind of situation. Those who are able to handle charge, they go up, and then they have. So brain likes to predict and have a say in future, and when they have choice, they like to feel better. Micromanagement reduces autonomy and increases stress. And there is this book by Daniel Pink called Drive, in which he says that autonomy is one of the core motivators. We think that it is money, it is this, recognition, and that. But he says if the person has got freedom to act, like if you have a boss who says, boss ये काम करना है, तुम जिस तरीके से करना है करके ले आओ, कहीं अटकोगे तो मुझे बता देना. That kind of environment is where people thrive and they are motivated. They want to do what is called discretionary effort. They will put in their best in that kind of environment. And we discussed about this. And how would you feel if you don't have autonomy? Okay. If you are being constantly told either by your parents or by your spouse or by your colleagues or boss that boss इसी तरह से करना है तुमको, how would you feel that? What would be your emotions? You can unmute and share or type in the chat. How would you feel? Yeah.
I won't feel respected. I won't feel comfortable over there. I'll
Yeah.
feel like leaving from there, basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No respect, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there any place you may not be extending autonomy to some people? Think about that. And there's a beautiful story. I think almost everybody has got this book, Beyond Limits. Pooja will be getting shortly. So there is this beautiful story. This is the last story in the book, The Prince and the Cursed. What is the title? Prince and the Cursed Beauty. Do you want to listen to a story?
Yes, why not?
Okay. So what happens is there is this girl who's cursed, and for 12 hours in a day she is the most beautiful girl one can imagine, and for 12 hours in a day she is the most hideous witch. You can't bear looking at her. And she used to live in a small village. Villagers knew about her curse, so they were kind of used to it. One day the prince of the kingdom was passing by, and he saw her when she was at her most beautiful. So he fell in love with her, and over a period of time they kept meeting, and their love increased. And eventually one day came which this princess was fearing and also anticipating, that it will come to that situation where he will propose me. So the prince proposed to her, and then she told him about her condition. That Prince, I do love you, but I must tell you that because of this curse, 12 hours in a day, I am the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, and for 12 hours I am the ugliest witch. And then she asked him a question. Some of you may know this story, so if you know this story, just don't respond. This question is for others who are hearing this for the first time. So she asked the prince, Prince, would you like me to be the most beautiful during the day? When you can show me around, I have a court to attend and people will see me by your side, most beautiful queen. Or would you like me to be the most beautiful at night, when we have our personal time together? So this is the question I ask you on behalf of the princess. So please share with me, if you were the prince, what would have been your answer? No right or wrong answers. What would have been your answer to the princess question?
I mean, the easiest answer seems to be be beautiful in the day that people don't judge me. But
Okay.
yes, but for peace of mind, for to feel fulfilled, maybe nighttime. So
Okay.
maybe logical, more right is the nighttime, but people would tend more for the daytime. That's what I think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Pooja. Gaurav, Vasudev, Somesh.
I read the story, so I will
Yeah.
prefer
Okay.
to.
Okay. Yeah. So Vasudev, you may hold back. Gaurav, Somesh.
I'm just thinking what to say because both the things are very important. No, the first part is very important.
Yeah, yeah,
How can a prince live with the ugly
yeah,
person
yeah,
and at daytime such a beautiful person?
yeah,
So the whole situation is really inexplainable basically to the
yeah.
person who is of that stature in that kingdom.
Okay. So
So
let me share with you what the prince answered, huh?
yes, yes.
In the context of what we are discussing. The prince something said something which completely blew my mind. Prince said, "I will let you decide."
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I will let you choose when you want to be the most beautiful. And at that moment, the curse was broken
Wow.
because he accepted her as she is. And then she was beautiful the 24 hours. Okay. Now, relate this to autonomy. When we give freedom to people to be as they are, then we see the most beautiful part of them.
True that.
Versus when we are driving them with a stake, ऐसे ही करो, my way or highway, तुमको क्या पता है, तुम कल के बच्चे हो, मैंने दुनिया देखी है, मुझे पता है. So when we give autonomy to people, when we give them freedom to choose, to express themselves, then we see the most beautiful part of them. And when we don't, we create stress for ourselves and we create stress for others also. Right? So this is the third part of the stress part. The fourth is relatedness, and I'm sure I'm conscious that we are got only a few minutes left. Relatedness is our classifying people subconsciously as friends or foes. So our brain is consciously always classifying the people around us as friends and foes, and this is also linked to the evolution. In when we were living in jungles, we had to make that instant judgment that this guy is my friend or foe because my life depended on that, and we continue to do that. Uh, Okay, and it is very important for us to make the quality of connections is very important for us because that is a very powerful determinator of the quality of our life. And it is important for us to understand that by default our brain labels a stranger as a foe unless proven otherwise. And small gestures like kindness, greeting out. So the takeaway for us is that when we are in a group of strangers, it is rather than be thinking them as enemy or perceiving a threat from them. A small way is to go out and extend your hand to them, greet them, and interact with them, and that itself breaks the that barrier of friend or foe, and you can establish good relationships. Think of it in terms of a new joinee in an organization. Somebody is coming into the organization, and people are looking at him, will normally treat him as a stranger and foe, so don't do that. Or if somebody is getting married and coming to a family, it's a stranger. Okay, marriage mein itna nahi hai because you would have met couple of times, but other situations, so wherever you see strangers, reach out to them and extend them a friendly thing. Okay, and the warmth that fosters safety and collaboration. Loneliness or staying alone, aloof, is highly stressful. It is considered equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes in a day. That is how harmful loneliness is. So we need to beat that and reach out to people with small gestures of kindness and connect with them. Now we come to the last part of scarf, which is fairness. And this is very interesting because humans are the only people who are known to injure their own self interest in the name of fairness. And there is a small study in which they have cited, the author has cited in his book, wherein they did this experiment with the chimpanzee. Okay, there were two chimpanzees, and one of them was given 10 bananas. Okay, and the chimpanzee which had 10 bananas gave one banana to the chimpanzee which had no banana. Okay, now the
Ashish, can I just,
yes, Gaurav.
sorry to
Ah.
interrupt. You were at the you are at the bananas things. First point, can you just elaborate a bit? So, does it mean that humans can be more selfish from, uh, but they would be putting it as a fairness point?
थोड़ा सा
The
अलग
first
बात
point
कर
you're
रहे हैं उससे,
talking.
थोड़ा सा अलग बात कर रहे हैं गौरव. आप ये बनाना वाली स्टोरी सुनो. इट विल क्लियर, इट विल क्लैरिफाई योर पॉइंट. ओके.
Okay. Okay.
सो चिंपैंजी एक के पास 10 दिए उन्होंने, दूसरे को एक भी नहीं था. सो दिस चिंपैंजी विच हैड 10 गेव वन टू द चिंपैंजी विच हैड नन. ओके. And this chimpanzee which had none feels happy because earlier he had zero banana, now he has one banana. Okay, so he's very happy. But human beings are not like that. So imagine if Gaurav is given 10 lakh rupees. Okay, कहीं से उसको 10 लाख रुपए मिलते हैं और गौरव मेरे को 1 लाख रुपए देता है. Will I be happy? No. हम ह्यूमंस क्या सोचेंगे, यार इसको तो 10 लाख रुपए मिले, ही इज वेरी अनफेयर, उसने मेरे को 1 ही लाख दिया. मैं ये नहीं सोच रहा कि मेरे पास 0 था मेरे को 1 लाख मिल गया. मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि उसको 10 मिला था, उसने मेरे को 1 ही दिया. ओके. सो आई परसीव दैट टू बी वेरी अनफेयर. And this is very individualistic, the sense of fairness is very individualistic, and that this is the thing which is very unique to human beings, where even if we get something which actually improves our status, we perceive it to be not fair, and we get very enraged with that. If we perceive somebody to be unfair, we are very, like, I don't know if you have seen this movie Dhurandhar 2, where he felt, of course, whatever happened was not right, but that unfairness drives him to take that revenge. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is how extreme we can get when we feel that we have unfairness, we have been treated unfairly. Yes, Gaurav, now I would be happy to hear from you.
My perspective was, my question was, or my understanding was that humans can become more selfish uh, in their actions or this thing, uh, by saying that, okay, I'm just being fair.
हाँ, वो तो कवर अप है गौरव, आप तो बोल रहे हो वो
हाँ,
कवर अप की बात है. ओके. मैं इनहेरेंटली अनफेयर हूँ बट मैं उसको कवर अप कर रहा हूँ बोल के कि मैं फेयर हूँ. दैट राइट, दैट्स व्हाट यू आर सेइंग.
yes, yes, yes.
हम
So
ये
that's
बोल
a
रहे हैं कि
different thing. This is,
हाँ, नो वी आर टॉकिंग समथिंग डिफरेंट गौरव. वी आर सेइंग कि आप अगर फेयर भी हो, यू नो आपके
hmm,
हिसाब से आप फेयर हो, बट मेरे को लग सकता है वो अनफेयर है.
okay,
Okay. And that will drive my behavior in ways that that can be detrimental to everyone. Okay. Now let us look at some examples. Now this may not be exactly what we are talking about, but when Gandhiji was kicked off that train, you know Gandhiji had a valid ticket, okay, to travel in first class, but he was kicked off. Now that is an example where he felt कि बॉस ये अनफेयर है. अब आप बताओ, किसी भी नॉर्मल इंसान के लिए बहुत छोटी सी बात है. इन ए कंट्री वेयर वाइट्स आर रूलिंग यू, इफ दे हैव किक्ड यू आउट ऑफ द ट्रेन, कितने लोगों को किया होगा. उन्होंने क्या वो देश में आके उनकी जड़ उखाड़ दी? ओके, नहीं. सो कैन यू इमेजिन हाउ मच being treated unfairly can drive a man. He came back to India, वो सब इतना बड़ा सत्याग्रह किया इतने साल तक लड़ते रहे एंड पूरी उनकी जड़ निकाल दी इंडिया से, just because he was treated unfairly. Okay, so never ever underestimate the sense of fairness a person has. From a TTE perspective, the South African TTE perspective, what he was doing was fair. ब्लैक है, इंडियन है, इसको टिकट होने से भी निकालना है, बट इनके लिए अनफेयर था. तो आप फेयर कर रहे हो, दूसरे को अनफेयर लग रहा है, वो लड़ जाएगा किसी भी एंड तक. नाउ लुक एट इट इन ए कॉर्पोरेट कॉन्टेक्स्ट. कंपनी फील्स यार ये तो मैं इसको इतना ही इंक्रीमेंट दे सकता हूँ, 5%, 6%, बट वो एम्प्लॉय को लग रहा है बॉस ये तो बिल्कुल फेयर नहीं, मैंने तो कितना मेहनत किया, 12-12 घंटे 300 दिन काम किया, क्या 5% इंक्रीमेंट ले, फिर क्या करेगा, नौकरी छोड़ के चले जाएगा. आप कि 5% यार कंपनी के प्रॉफिट नहीं हो रहे, वार हो गया, इनपुट कॉस्ट बढ़ गए, या इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में जैसे अभी GST निकाल दिया, ऑल इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज आर हैविंग लॉट ऑफ, सो वो इंक्रीमेंट ये बोल रहे बॉस ये तो अनफेयर है, लड़ाई करके चले जाएगा. ओके, और लुक एट इन योर रिलेशनशिप्स, पेरेंट्स सब कुछ कर रहे हैं बच्चे के लिए, बच्चा बोल रहे हैं यार ये थोड़ा ना, यू आर बीइंग अनफेयर टू मी, पॉप मॉम, यू आर बीइंग अनफेयर टू मी. So this sense of fairness drives people, and it can have massive impact. So we not only have to be fair, we have to appear to be fair and perceived to be fair and felt to be fair. It's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. Okay, so understanding this is very, very important. Reflect it on your own experience. If has there been any time when you have not been treated fairly, okay, and how did you feel? If there is anyone would like to share, how was this, or like another example, like if you're going for a small auto ride, maybe the minimum fare is 25 rupees and he asks you for 50 rupees. Okay, बात वो 25 रुपए की नहीं है, बट हाउ डू यू फील एट दैट मोमेंट?
एग्जैक्टली.
यू फील कि बॉस कितना अनफेयर है ये. वो गरीब आदमी इतनी धूप में, इतना गर्मी में मर मर के ऑटो चला रहा है, आपसे 25 के 50 रुपए ले लिया, तो क्या अनफेयरनेस हो गई यार. हमको लगता है नहीं बॉस ये अनफेयर है, गलत किया उसने. हाउ what is the emotion you feel when you feel you have been treated unfairly?
Very disrespected. Basically, outcome matters very less. Yes, most of the times this happens to me. I'm not worried about outcome. It's okay if I don't get the thing. But if I was treated unfairly there, that cannot get out of my mind. And I just want to give it back to them, basically.
See,
yes.
itna powerful. The emotions it drives in us is very extreme. Okay, so we need to be cognizant of the fact, how we are reacting, how we are getting triggered, and also in our behavior with other people. Not only am I being fair, but so in one of the town halls I had gone, the CEO was talking about we have taken feedback from the employees. We have not only taken the feedback, we have acted on the feedback. Okay, so that is fairness. We have taken the feedback, we have acted. So these are some ways where you demonstrate your fairness. That can be any other ways. So fair treatment is fundamental to building trust and reduction of stress. Now, in the interest of time, we'll move through a little bit. These are some data points on how it helps. So now we'll come to we have got another 5-10 minutes. Just take maybe 3 minutes to reflect on what we have discussed today. What insights have you got about your behavior in the past? If something happened to you, you got triggered, or you did something which may have triggered other people at your workplace, family, social circles, or if any new insight came for you for trigger, whether it is status that triggers you, or autonomy that triggers you, or uncertainty that triggers you, or not being able to connect with people triggers you, not being respected, not fair. What is it that you can do? Um, will you uh, change your investment patterns because now you understand that you can embrace risk and it is rewarding? What is it that you will do differently? So please take 3 minutes to reflect, and then we will invite sharing from you. And if anyone is ready, you can just raise your hands and we'll be happy to hear from you. What is coming to me is some cases which happened in Delhi, where there was a group of people who was going through a toll, and the at the toll booth he asked them for that toll, and they shot the guy. It came in newspapers. So what got threatened? Their status. मेरे से
Yes.
कैसे तुमने टोल के पैसे मांग लिए? you know who are you to ask me for toll? Or when people parking is in short supply, so when somebody else parks in your parking, they literally kill people because of the sense of unfairness. मेरी parking में तुमने कैसे अपनी कार लगा दी? That's the kind of trigger that happens. Yes, Pooja, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I was just pondering, and yeah, the status thing I think will be working on. I mean, it's after all, it's love. We all love each other, and how does a status thing comes in between? Maybe I think I have to discount that thought whenever it comes to my mind. Second thing is panicking. You only taught even before and today as well. When we discussed panicking, it's something that actually degrades the quality of things that I take sometimes. So I don't know exactly how to go at it with it, but yes, to not panic the first moment I feel uncertain, it's something that I'll be working on.
Thank you for sharing that, Pooja. Whom would you like to invite to share next?
Yeah, Gaurav, if you could share.
Okay.
Okay. I had a call in between,
Okay.
during this exercise, but I had seen, autonomy triggers me in the sense I absolutely hate when somebody is, trying to give me, even if they are good, even if it's good in terms of, the organization that I'm working with. उस समय भी अगर कोई मुझे कुछ बोलता है ना तो it triggers me a lot at times. That is one thing. Bossing मुझे I absolutely hate when somebody tries to do that. And sense of fairness is also something key. If I feel that that person is not being fair with me, I have broken ties with people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Relatedness, it's something that I used to be kind of okay with. But yeah, within last 3.5, 4 years, since I have been into networking, I'm able to gel with people, talk with them, and that's happening. So these three were the things. I would like to have a look at the slide one so that uh, because I was
Smiles.
thinking something and then the last slide that we were discussing,
Okay.
insight to action wala.
You're able to see it now?
Yes. So, yeah, this is what I would say. Practice, behavior, and commitment. I will have to go back to what I have been following. I have not been able to do justice to it. So, adding something will be more difficult right now.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Gaurav. Whom would you like to invite next?
Yeah. Monica, madam.
Monica's dropped off. She's outside now.
Okay. Somesh,
Yeah.
in that case.
Yeah, one of the triggers for me is certainty.
Is
When I'm not certain, and when the other person is not certain, it triggers me because his statement or his certainty will decide how I'm going to react, especially when it comes to professional work. So whenever I do something, I need the complete clarity. And if I am not clear, I get little stressed out, and that damages my work. As far as fairness is concerned, yes, fairness is something which everyone requires. It is not like I don't like fairness or he likes fairness. Fairness is something which you expect from everyone. So whomever I'm dealing with, I need to be uh, make sure that the person is fair with me. Status doesn't matter to me now. It doesn't trigger me at all because I have worked in very senior positions also, and I have worked for so long, and I have seen so many organizations. I have worked with so many people. I have worked with so many senior people. I have myself been a very senior person. So status doesn't trigger me or doesn't threat me anymore because I know my capabilities now. I know what I can do, what I can't do. And unfortunately, today I'm not in a position to have that kind of, status because we are working now. We are self-employed. I'm working with Gaurav now. So status doesn't affect me at all now.
don't.
Relatedness, yes, it is very important for me. I be it outsiders or be it family members, I think relatedness is very important and it really affects you when you feel isolated, when you feel,
Yeah.
detached with everyone, you feel lonely,
Correct.
and it makes you little stressed out. Little not, I would say you are stressed out a lot if you feel that way, that you have been isolated from the group or you have been isolated with some of the family members
Yeah.
and all these things. This is the biggest trigger, and this
Yeah.
is the biggest threat which I feel these days.
Correct. So
And
that
the
is
last one
also.
was, I
Sorry.
guess, yeah, yeah.
Go
And
on.
the
Go on.
last
Sorry.
one, and I think I have spoken autonomy. Autonomy doesn't threat me anymore because I have full autonomy. Even now, and when I was working, I had full autonomy because in my previous organization, I used to report to very high officials, I mean, higher executives. So autonomy has never been a problem for me. But yes, sometimes I feel that I was bypassed. But that is okay for me because I didn't take it very seriously because I knew myself and I had complete faith on myself. So I
Great
was
point.
very confident that this year I haven't got any promotion, but next year I will definitely get one. And I actually got one. And I got
Great.
a very good raise also in my previous organizations. But I never, lost hope. So my everything boils down to one thing, that is you should never lose hope on anything. The time today is just a phase. It will pass away.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is a new day. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
believe in that. So
Yeah.
that's it
That-
from my side.
So, the point that you made about being left out, that's also related to our evolutionary biology. And when you are living in jungles, if you have been ostracized, the way for somebody to get killed is if you're not part of the group. So that is the same way our mind even today. Today, if I'm not part of the group, I'm not going to get killed. But my mind interprets it to be that way. And the another thing you mentioned about was, it is all impermanent. This will pass. And there is a story on that too in our book, which is This Too Shall Pass. So you can check out that story.
Sure, I will do it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe you can invite Vasudev now, and with that, we will close our session.
Yeah, Vasudev sir, please.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
very important learning from today with the how to understand what is the scarf of stress, and it is like showing, adding certainty to so many uncertain things. I would like to put it that way because I have felt what is status. I have felt the difference between certainty and uncertainty to such an extent that sometimes when I am not sure, like there is a breakdown on one of my machine and it's threatening us that it will stop all the upstream machines if it doesn't get repaired by 30 minutes. Then I am so irritated with the kind of uncertainty that I pick up a coin and say that if it is heads, then find the root cause of the problem or the reason of the problem. And if it is tails, then one of my team member will find it. So if it comes tails, then I send all my team members कि क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग जाके देखो उसमें क्या है यहाँ बैठने से होगा क्या those kind of things. And sometimes I go and ask questions to people and it gives a lot of feel कि okay this problem is to be resolved by me or my team and I could connect with that. Autonomy definitely makes a big difference. I have felt it. I have given autonomy, and I feel that the need of autonomy is necessary. And it is like the example this speaker, Dushyant Sridhar, was telling in one day that you are traveling in a Mumbai local and suddenly the train is empty. So you have given I have given my children the autonomy to move, play in the railway train. And because the train is moving, I am very sure that the children won't go towards the door. I still tell them, don't go towards the door, but you can play inside. So they are also happy playing that. So they are having autonomy and still they are within those boundaries. So that kind of autonomy is what I like to have for myself and also to my team members. And it makes a very big difference when I am at a certain place where decision making is a necessity and that kind of autonomy always helps. And when I am getting micromanaged, I don't feel comfortable. So that definitely makes a huge difference. And other things like relatedness and fairness, they are true. Like accepting people as the way they are, like the story it was told. I like to do that. I don't want to correct the person or change the person from the way they are, and slowly bring about the change that I want them to do as my what you call as a team member of me. Maybe they are senior to me or junior to me. Slowly, I like it is told in our NLP that meeting them where they are, meeting the person where they are. So that helps. And all these things are like it was there somewhere, and slowly it has come out into one single word like a scarf.
Scarf, yeah.
So yeah, so the scarf has got opened from the place of the uncertain thing is what I would put our today's session as.
Thank you, Vasudev, for sharing that. So, friends, thank you for joining in the session today and participating actively. I'm sure this is a very powerful framework, very easy to remember, very practical. So, I'm sure you're going to be keeping this, you know, uh, be cognizant of this, and then, evaluating your own behavior and the behavior of others around you in this slide, and benefit from this by not getting triggered. Or if somebody has got triggered, realizing that, and keeping your cool, you don't get triggered if somebody else is great triggered, so on and so forth. So have a wonderful week ahead, and we connect next Thursday at 8 p.m. for the final session of Stress to Smiles. Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, Ashish.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you, Ashish. Good night.
Thank you, Vasudev. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.